welcome to Growing Kentucky's Leaders. I'm one of your hosts, Sheldon McKinney.
And I'm your other host, Ruth Ann Fink.
Today, we are so happy to welcome straight from the farm our state star farmer, Riley Pierce, and his brother, Colson Pierce. They are a farm family who have just done some incredible things. They are business partners, brothers. They're both FFA members at Southwestern Pulaski, and they play an integral role on their farm enterprise. And let's just begin by, Riley, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your farm and your family dynamic?
Well, thank you, Sheldon. Like she said, my name is Riley Pierce. I just graduated from Southwestern this year, and I was this year's State Star Farmer. A little bit about our family dynamics. Me and Colson are ninth generation farmers in Nancy, Kentucky. That's looked different throughout the nine generations, but we've always been able to farm in this area. How we got started, we both took out a $5,000 FSA youth loan to purchase 60 Katahdin ewes together. And that started our farming operation. The lamb crop that we got off of that helped us make our first down payment for our John Deere 9560 combine, which started our second enterprise, custom harvesting, which sort of gave us some insight and some learning for our crop enterprises that were to come in the next year. Our first crop we put out 73 acres of full season soybeans on 2 farms, and that's went to what we have today, which is 386 acres of double crop soybeans as well as rye. This year we put out some corn, and next year we plan on putting out some canola. We've also expanded in 2023 to beef cattle. We have 28 beef cows, Angus. So that's a little bit about our operation.
Yeah, Colson, why don't you all share maybe what your all's roles are on the farm as business partners? What do you all do? How do you share that division of labor?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, this year, there's been a big change. We have fewer full-time employees. So we've gone to having a lot of our friends work on the farm. So working with them's been a new thing. And so it's put a lot more pressure on Riley and I to kind of take a bigger step and do a lot more on the farm. I feel that most of what we do is kind of, we both started doing some smaller stuff and like running equipment with our dad and kind of learning from him. And so this year is the first year we've kind of been on our own. Riley, as he said, he's planting by himself this year, and I'm combining up here in town. So yeah, it's been a big change recently from kind of working beside people to working on our own.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big change and a lot of responsibility for sure. You all are brothers, obviously, and business partners, which makes for a really unique relationship, I am sure. How do you all collaborate and support each other both in FFA, but also on the farm? And then maybe like, how do your unique personalities complement each other well in doing that? Colson, we'll start with you this time.
Well, in FFA, Riley, he's almost like the guinea pig. He was the first one to do everything. So I kind of listened to what he said and paid attention to what he was going through. And so it was always nice to have someone to go ahead and kind of experience things first. And then on as far as personalities goes, I feel that we are 2 very different people when it comes to how we act. I'm a little bit more free-spirited, and Riley, I don't know, he's a little bit more serious than I am sometimes. So, but I feel like it really complements each other. I think that's how a lot of great business relationships go. It's 2 different people, 2 different dichotomies, and they come together and really work well. So
yeah, Riley, would you agree with that? Have anything to add?
Yeah, I agree. I think we both just have to work off of each other's strengths and weaknesses. Colson's definitely the outgoing, more, I say, the politician. He's the person that can sort of just go to anybody and be friends with and share what they're going through. And I'm definitely not as extroverted and outgoing, but I think what I bring to the farm is just being able to use the technology that we have, um, as well as the record keeping. That's one of the things that I do with our livestock and our crops both is take some of the records. As far as FFA, Colson's definitely, he's regional president of the Lake Cumberland region this year. He's definitely just the more outgoing person, and I think some of my strengths in FFA has been more proficiency based and as well as public speaking. The past 2 years, we both won crop public speaking for the Kentucky competition. So
It's actually kind of interesting. We both got second at region and then one at state.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of funny. But yeah, I
that-
definitely say Riley's far more technical at stuff than I am with AET and stuff. I always have trouble with it, but Riley, he can work through it really well. So yeah.
Yeah, the AET is our record keeping system that we provide to FFA members. That's wonderful. Well, let me ask you all, Riley, like what did you gain from your time in FFA when it comes to being a leader, and how did your FFA experience help shape leading your farming operation?
Well, I think for me, FFA, it sort of got me. Everybody says it. I think it's sort of like an FFA cliche thing. Like I got out of my comfort zone, and like 4 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to do this podcast. I probably just would have been way too nervous. But that's something FFA's taught me with public speaking, just with working with other people. Like Colson said, two of the employees that me and him have are part of the Southwestern FFA Ag Co-op program. It's one of the things that's helped me is just learning how to be with people, whether that be on your officer team, just in your chapter in general, or a parliamentary procedure team, or even just out working like we do today. We have to work with a lot of different people, and I think FFA's helped me with that. And just being an ag professional, I think FFA has given me a lot of exposure to different people in the ag industry, whether that be ag education, crop, livestock, whatever it may be. I think FFA's been a great stepping stone for me and people across the state to gain knowledge and experience in the agriculture industry.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Obviously, with your all's brother dynamic and just like the age gap between the two of you, Colson, you are kind of by default following in Riley's footsteps. You've had a great leader within your family, showing, like you mentioned, he's the guinea pig. He's tried a lot of stuff in FFA first, and you've got to kind of watch his successes and maybe some things that were hard for him or growing pains for him through FFA. So how has that helped you, Colson, with paving your own journey in FFA?
Oh, well, definitely. I think part of it is like we are very different people. So I've kind of seen what Riley's done and if kind of how he's talked about it. And I think I've done some different things than he has in FFA. So I think trying to guess kind of from the experience of Riley and even like other people in FFA that I've been around, just to see how my FFA journey is going to go. And I think that's how most people are. FFA is one of the few organizations where, a jock and a band kid can be in the same room and get along. So I think everyone has their own FFA journey. And I'm glad that Riley kind of helped me through mine.
No, and I'm so glad you said that too, that FFA can be for anyone. And yes, you all are brothers, and yes, you all are business partners, but you're also your own individual person, and you all have very different personalities, but you make it work, and it's a great thing. On the flip side, Riley, what would you say you've learned from Colson, being in FFA with him and getting to experience that together for a little bit?
Well, I think a lot of it's just learning how to navigate through the system of FFA. Colson, like I said, he's obviously more of a better speaker and a better with people overall. That's one of the things I've had to learn is just how to deal with and help people, especially through Colson, because he's one of those people that just knows what people are going through, whether or not he's gone through it. He can understand people and read people, and and help them. And that's one thing that I've been able to learn from him through FFA.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, we talk a lot about the next generation in farming and how young people can enter the industry and become a farmer. You all have that heritage of farming, but you're going to be the ninth generation. Hopefully you have the 10th, 11th, 12th, and that will be because of you all were good stewards of what you've been given and also will help it grow. So why don't you tell us, like, what are your future plans? What if we check in on you in 5 or 10 years? What do you all hope to accomplish on your own on the farm?
Well, as far as my part goes, I think I'm interested in kind of like the marketing side of things. I think really the future of almost anything is you have to set yourself apart some way. And so I think, and to kind of ensure our future with agriculture is going to be finding some way to set us apart through like social media, um, like who we are, kind of. So I think I will really want to go to UK and study marketing and ag econ. And I think that's going to be a big part in kind of ensuring what our future almost.
If folks are watching this on YouTube, they're sitting, and if you're listening, they're sitting in front of a combine in the field. And I thought when they joined that it was like a green screen background because it looks so perfect, but it's not. We're seeing other equipment pull up and it is a working day on the farm. It's awesome that you all stopped to just be with us. So Riley, what about you? What's next and what are those future goals?
I think for me, the future goal is to continue to expand the farm. That way it can be something we haven't mentioned is we've also got 2 sisters. So I think for me, my goal is to have a farm that can be able to support us and all 4 of us and our families um, for the next generations. I think to be able to do that, we're going to have to diversify. And I think every farmer across the state, that's something that they're looking at is how do we diversify that way we can continue to make profits. Because I think as time goes on, that's what people are wanting is they're wanting specific products and they're wanting food grade products. And that's been something that me and Colson has sort of made unique to our operation is making food grade crops, whether that be livestock,
Sweet corn
or field crops. We started with sweet corn, like Colson said. That's just been something we've specialized through. I think that's something we want to continue because my biggest calling to being a farmer, or well, 2 of them. One of them is to help our community because a lot of people in the community have farmland that needs to be taken care of and just need help. And the second is I want to feed the world. And I think what we're doing with food grade and food quality raw products is we're being able to feed the world. So that's a little bit of what I want to do in the next few years in order to help continue to grow our farm.
You all have such a willingness to learn. And I think you're so open to that of saying, we're the 9th generation of farmers. This farm has done a lot of different things over the decades. And I think that's really, I don't know, that's a great thing, a great mindset to have. Where'd you get that from? Where's that mindset originate from?
Well, I mean, we've heard our grandparents talk about it, our parents talk about it. I think it's just something that just you carry with you and it's just in you almost. And it's kind of instinctual and you hear about it and you see it. I mean, like in the community we're in, there's several families who have, been working and living in the same area for generations. So I kind of think it's a mix between just like instinctual stuff and almost like it's just, everywhere almost kind of.
Yeah.
It is truly commendable. It's the easy thing to do to say, this is what we know, and this is what we've been successful at, and we know our land is capable of. So we're going to keep doing it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And I think you all challenge that in a healthy way and say, we want to push this a little bit further. We want to see, how many more yields we can get and what advancements we can try. Like that's really what the future of farming is. And I think you all are great young examples of how to do that well. Well, guys, we always end every podcast episode. It's been such a fun one talking to you all, and we know you're busy, so I don't want to take up too much of your afternoon. It's good weather today. We end every podcast episode with the same 3 questions. The first one is, what is just the best piece of leadership advice that you've ever received?
You want to go?
I think one of the things that I sort of structure my life over is using the most of my time, talents, and treasure. The Bible talks about everybody has time, talent, and treasure. And that's just been something every day I strive to use as much time as I possibly can, use it to the best of my ability, and to most importantly, to help others. So that's a little bit of leadership advice that I use, and I want other people to use as well, because the 4 years that I've been in high school and FFA has gone completely by. It feels like it was just a few months ago that I was saying the creed for the first time. And so, as far as if I was to talk to a new FFA member, I'd say, take all the opportunities that you can, and just be there whenever opportunity comes knocking at your door, because it's worth it. So
I love that, Riley. What about you, Colson? What's the best piece of leadership advice you've ever been given?
I really think it's finding a community that you can live and work in. I think FFA is a great example of it. I mean, as I said, like, anyone can be in it, and it's just truly where you can find passion for something and find what you love. And I mean, I've met friends from all across the state through FFA, and it's just been a very great experience for me. And I think even like applying it to everyday life, it's so important, because no one likes to be around people they can't stand. So if you can just find a group of people that you really like, you can accomplish more than 1,000 people working on their own. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Riley, earlier you kind of stole one of my lines. We always talk, our second question is about philanthropy. The Kentucky FFA Foundation, we're philanthropy, and people can give with time, talent, and treasure, just like you mentioned. And so we're going to give you all the opportunity to each shout out one person, just one, that has poured into you and your leadership journey, that's played a pivotal role. So who would you like to recognize for giving back to you guys?
Well, I think I'm going to cheat on this question and say 2. Our FFA advisors, Chris McDonald and Mallory Crisologo, they've both been instrumental in our success in FFA, as well as just growing into being better people. They pour every day into Southwestern FFA and Pulaski County agriculture. They've made multiple farm visits with us. They've taken time out of their busy schedules for us and for everybody else in the chapter. And as far as the Kentucky agriculture, I think ag teachers are instrumental for the next generation of agriculture to even be possible to be successful. So that's my shout out, is our ag teachers.
Yeah, that's a good one. We'll let that one count.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna cheat again and say our parents, because they've been very instrumental in helping us and assisting us in kind of doing what we do in FFA. We rented some land off of them to put our 60 sheep on, and they've kind of helped us from there, and it's just built on and on. And sometimes if there's an FFA event we got to go to, or a 4-H or anything, they don't care. They'll take on a little bit extra work just so we can go, and so we can have a better experience and become well-rounded and have what they didn't have. And I think that's their mission, and they've really poured that into us.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Sheldon and I got to meet your all's families when we visited you for Riley's Star visit to do his recordings. And for those that are listening, you all have such a beautiful family, and inside and out, and you can just tell you all really are a unit. And that's a cool thing to get to see. Well, our last question is kind of an off the wall one, and really there's like no boundaries here is what you can say, but it's just, what's something you're loving right now that's helping you all grow as leaders? Can be anything.
Well, we recently got a subscription to the Total Acre program, and it's this program started by Randy Dowdy and David Hula, right? And so it's where they talk about like sustainable agriculture and trying to find the best ways to get a higher yield by using fewer inputs. And it's just been really good. We've applied it on our land in several places. So I think that's been something really good for.
Is it a product, an app? What?
It's pretty much a club.
membership.
It's a membership. It's like a club thing.
What David Hula and Randy Dowdy, David Hula's the record corn yield holder in the world, and Randy Dowdy's soybean record holder.
Okay.
But basically,
And
what
they
it
kind
is,
of coach.
Yeah.
they have what they call camps where they'll have meetings in certain farms. We've went to meetings in Mayfield and Hardyville, which is outside of Glasgow. But what they do is they basically just examine farms, whether it be corn or soybeans, and just make suggestions as far as how do we improve yields without making outrageous purchases with seed, fertilizer, chemicals.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
Okay.
guys. Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Riley, do you have any other ones to add?
One I'd like to shout out is precision planting in the PTI farm, as they call it, Precision Technology Institute in Illinois. One of the things we run all AGCO, we run precision planting on all of our planters and meters on the planters. So whether that be through the YouTube videos or the conferences that we've went to through precision planting, or even getting to go to the farm, it's helped me sort of learn and understand the technology without just having to make a phone call to a bunch of people. I've done that too, but I think this sort of helps me grasp the technology and helped us grasp the technology, as well as just give us basic agronomical education and information that's helped us. So
Hey, those are
Great
great
answers.
things you
Yeah.
mentioned. And shout out to AGCO. They're a great partner of Kentucky FFA. We'll make sure that they hear you all using their products. That's wonderful. Well, guys, it's been an honor to meet you all, to meet your families, and to get to help tell your story to Kentucky FFA members. Your family and your all's team, or you all as a team, are a real inspiration to others. And I just can't wait to see your future and all the great things ahead. So thank you all for your time today.
Well, thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Yeah, it's
really
awesome.
fun.
Okay, well, guys, that's it. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders. Growing Kentucky's Leaders is a podcast brought to you by the Kentucky FFA Foundation. Our music is performed by Bourbon County FFA member Joe Fritch. Artwork is by Julie Fritch Creative. Your hosts are Sheldon McKinney and Ruth Ann Fink, and you can find us on all social platforms at Kentucky FFA.